Welcome to the Deep Dive. We cut through the noise, delivering insights you need to be truly well-informed. Today, we're plunging into, well, one of the most compelling stories in baseball right now.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani. I mean, a talent unlike any other, a true two-way sensation. But with that second elbow surgery behind him, how exactly did the Dodgers, the team, with that massive contract, how do they maximize his, frankly, unbelievable value?
It really is the ultimate strategic puzzle, isn't it?
Mhm.
And it's fascinating because the core idea for this deep dive, what we're really looking at, is this growing argument for Ohtani to serve primarily as an opener for the rest of this 2025 season.
An opener, okay.
We've gathered insights from quite a stack of sources, manager statements, deep dives into stats, splits, strategic analyses. Our mission really is to unpack whether this strategy, which might seem unconventional, isn't just a workaround, but maybe a genuine game changer. For the Dodgers, yes, but also for Ohtani's long-term health and his overall impact.
All right, let's unpack that then, because Ohtani's journey, just getting to this point, it's been extraordinary. You look at his hitting progression, it's unprecedented, really.
It truly is.
Those first 5 years, say 2018 to 2022, you saw the batting average climb, solid slugging, OPS plus around 139, already really good, well above average.
Right.
Very solid numbers.
But what he's done more recently,
Yeah.
the last 3 years, including this season, it feels like, I don't know, a completely different level, a whole new ball game. What does that jump tell you?
Well, what's truly astonishing there is the sheer leap in his hitting performance. Over these last 3 seasons, you're talking about a .300 average, nearly .400 on base percentage, and slugging, .644. Just ridiculous.
Wow.
And that OPS plus, it's absolutely skyrocketed to 185. So to put that in perspective, we're talking about a totally different caliber of hitter. He's elevated his game at the plate into this elite, consistent dominance. It's not just good anymore. It's historically great hitting. And it's not only the power, the stuff that makes the highlight reels. What genuinely surprised me, looking through the numbers we pulled, was his base running.
Oh, yeah.
Last year, even while pitching, he stole an incredible 59 bases. 59. And only caught 4 times.
That's wild, especially for a pitcher, even part-time.
Exactly. Compare that his first 6 seasons combined, he had just 28 total stolen bases. And he added 2.5 base running runs last year, which, quantifies his value on the bases. He ranked second in all of baseball with 9.7 runs added in 1 year.
That's a huge hidden value.
And that base running skill, you see, he really gains that when he's not pitching, right? So you put that together with the hitting.
Yeah.
What's the big picture takeaway about his overall value now?
Well, if we connect all those dots, the picture becomes pretty clear. It overwhelmingly suggests that as crucial as pitching obviously is for a two-way player, Ohtani's everyday dominance at the plate and on the bases, that contributes more to winning games right now.
More than the pitching.
Arguably, yes, in terms of consistent day-in, day-out impact. And this raises a really important question, especially given his injury history. He's already missed, 3 out of 7 seasons pitching because of elbow issues.
Right, that's the shadow hanging over everything.
Exactly. So, while he absolutely wants to pitch and everyone wants to see him pitch, the Dodgers' #1 concern has to be keeping that bat and those legs in the lineup every single day.
And those injury realities, they're clearly shaping how the Dodgers are thinking. We've heard Dave Roberts, the manager, being remarkably candid about it. He said Ohtani may never be fully built up like a traditional starter this season.
Very direct.
Roberts emphasized extreme caution. He even questioned if Ohtani would hit 6 innings and 90 pitches. That's a pretty stark admission for a player of his stature. From your analysis, what does that really signal about their immediate plans?
I think what's truly insightful there is how the Dodgers, a team known for being analytical and having deep resources, they're essentially rewriting the playbook for a talent like Ohtani. It's not just accepting limitations, it feels like a profound strategic pivot.
Okay.
Despite having, 13 pitchers on the IL right now? A lot.
Yeah, a ton.
They view anything they can get from Ohtani on the mound as a win, like a bonus. This really challenges the whole idea of a pitching ace in the traditional sense. It could set a precedent for how teams deploy star players with injury concerns, especially teams with resources. They're leveraging his brief elite bursts instead of chasing those 180-inning seasons.
That's a really interesting way to frame it, a reevaluation of how you maximize unique skills. And you mentioned something earlier that feels crucial here, that Major League rule change back in 2020.
Oh, absolutely fundamental.
Rule 5.11b, allowing a starting pitcher to stay in the game as the DH after they're done pitching. How significant was that specific change for a player like Ohtani?
It basically unleashed his full potential. It turned him from maybe a fascinating novelty into a truly viable, everyday two-way player. Before that rule, back with the Angels before 22, he either didn't hit on days he pitched, or he'd have to switch to the outfield mid-game.
Right, I remember that out to right field sometimes.
Yeah. With the Angels, he batted in, I think, 20 of his 23 pitching starts in 2021, but had to move to the outfield in 7 of those. After the rule change, he hit in every game he pitched, 51 times in 22 and 23.
Wow.
And his hitting production while pitching for the Angels was already good. .284 average, .385 on base, .523 slugging, 13 homers over 71 games. But then 2023, just before the elbow injury, I mean, the numbers were staggering. He hit .375, .479, .763 with 8 homers in just 23 games he pitched in.
Just insane numbers.
So that rule didn't just let him hit, it let him excel while pitching, without the team losing his bat later.
Okay, so the stage is set for this opener strategy, and the Dodgers have already dipped their toes in the water, right? Using him in those couple of one-inning rehab starts, how did those go?
They did. His first start was 28 pitches, gave up 1 earned run on 2 hits, but it was against the very top of the Padres lineup. Tatis Jr., Arias, Machado, a real test.
Yeah, no easy task there.
No. His second outing against the Nationals was much sharper, more effective. Tossed a scoreless inning, only 18 pitches, 0 hits, got 2 strikeouts. His first K as a Dodger, actually, against Luis Garcia Jr., it showed what that brief, high-intensity burst can look like when he's really on.
Okay, so we've seen glimpses. Let's really dig into what this opener role means for Ohtani himself. The personal benefits, physically, mentally, they seem pretty compelling, starting with maybe reducing his overall stress.
Yeah, that seems like a significant factor. First off, it just dramatically cuts down the stress because it knows exactly when he's pitching. No guesswork. This lets him be incredibly consistent with preparation, sleep, food, mindset, warm-up routine. It's a huge upgrade from the uncertainty, the stress of warming up for a maybe bullpen appearance, especially when he's also got to lock in for crucial at-bats all game. It just streamlines his whole day.
And it sounds like it's almost tailor-made for minimizing injury risk, which, given his history, has to be priority number 1. How does the opener strategy address that directly?
Crucially, yes. It directly targets arm health. By limiting the pitch count, say, 30 to 50 pitches a game, and having him pitch only 2 to 3 games in a row, maybe just a few times a week, the whole strategy aims to keep him active on the mound, but rigorously protect that arm. Avoid inflammation, avoid setbacks.
Right.
The key here is acknowledging he probably doesn't need to throw 180 or 200 innings. That just wasn't happening consistently anyway, even when he was healthy. This is about efficient, high-impact usage, not volume.
So after that short, intense pitching stint, he can just lock back in on hitting, focus purely on his at-bats for the rest of the game, preserve that elite offense we talked about.
Exactly. Flip the switch back to hitting.
And I guess for the fans, this actually means more chances to see him pitch, right? Even if it's just for an inning at a time.
That's the interesting part, yeah. More frequent, even if brief appearances, mean more fans get to see him pitch, as he will be pitching more often. It's definitely a win for fan engagement. You get that unique spectacle of the two-way star on the mound more regularly.
Okay, so benefits for Ohtani. But beyond him, there's a big strategic advantage for the team, right? Especially how it could impact games right from the very start.
Absolutely. This approach is potentially really powerful for neutralizing the first inning, which is still, believe it or not, the highest scoring inning in Major League Baseball, looking back over the last 15 years.
Still the highest scoring. Interesting.
Yeah. So having Ohtani, an elite arm, attack that dangerous inning right away. It offers immediate run prevention. It sets a strong, positive tone for the whole game. Imagine just shutting down the top of the other team's order right out of the gate. That's a huge psychological and statistical win for the Dodgers.
That makes a ton of sense, getting that elite arm against the top guys immediately. But are there, I don't know, strategic risks, downsides to relying on such a short outing from a superstar arm?
Well, it's a fair question. The main risk, if you want to call it that, is simply that he's not pitching deep into games. But the Dodgers have clearly calculated that the benefits of his offensive consistency, plus these high-leverage short pitching bursts, outweigh chasing the traditional starter innings.
Okay.
They believe they have the bullpen depth and the other starters to cover the remaining innings. So this isn't about traditional volume pitching. It's about tactical precision, and it aligns perfectly with their bigger goals. Win the NL West, manage their young arms carefully, don't overexpose them, and get ready for the playoffs with maximum tactical flexibility. It's not just about Ohtani. It's optimizing the whole pitching staff.
Okay, so let's look at how he fits into that future rotation picture then.
Yeah.
Specifically, this proposed six-man rotation for July, expected to be Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Emmett Sheehan, Dustin May, and then the best of that group, like Wroblewski, Knack, or Sauer.
Right.
Ohtani wouldn't be a traditional starter in that mix, so how exactly does he fit in? Who would he open games for?
This is where the strategy gets really granular and pretty fascinating. Our sources point to two main candidates who could really benefit from Ohtani opening for them regularly, almost like a bridge. The first is Justin Wroblewski.
Okay, Wroblewski, what's the thinking there?
Well, his 2025 stats show this really significant vulnerability early on. A 9.000 ERA in the first inning, 2 earned runs in just 2 innings pitched. But then his ERA drops dramatically later, down to .000 in the 6th and 7th innings specifically. He clearly struggles early, but performs far better afterward.
Wow, that's a huge split. So Ohtani would basically mitigate that early damage, let Wroblewski bypass his toughest inning and come in for the second or third, where he's presumably settled in.
Exactly. It could turn Wroblewski into a much more reliable, legitimate 4 to 5 inning contributor. That's a massive developmental boost for a young pitcher.
Absolutely. Okay, who's the second regular candidate?
That would be Emmett Sheehan. He's coming back from Tommy John surgery. His 2025 sample size is small, sure, 2.25 ERA, .75 WHIP in just 4 innings, but his control, his pitch count, they're still limited as he builds back up.
Makes sense.
Well, having Ohtani handle that high-stress first inning, it eases Sheehan into the game, avoids early exertion, lets him find a rhythm, allows Sheehan to contribute effectively without risking overexertion during that critical recovery phase.
I see. So it's about protecting these young or recovering arms while still getting value. Now, what about a spot start opener? Maybe for someone like Dustin May.
Dustin May is a really logical choice for that spot start opener role. Interestingly, May actually has a strong first inning ERA, 0.00 in his limited 2025 innings, but his overall ERA this year is 4.46 with a 1.32 WHIP. He tends to run into trouble with pitch counts and command dips around the 3rd and 4th innings.
Okay.
So Ohtani could open for May during, say, back-to-back series or doubleheaders, or maybe if May's on short rest. It lets May enter fresh in the 2nd inning, skip that initial high-leverage stuff, and potentially pitch deeper maybe through the 7th. It's just a smart way to manage workloads, especially for a guy like May who's also dealt with major injuries.
That's incredibly insightful how they could mix and match. So if Ohtani is ideal for Wroblewski, Sheehan, and sometimes May, who in that proposed rotation would he be less suited to open for, and why not?
Well, when you look at guys like Blake Snell and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the data just screams no opener needed. Both have excellent first-inning numbers. Snell, .000 ERA in his 2 first-inning appearances. Yamamoto, a sparkling 1.80 ERA across 15 first-inning frames.
Right, they handle the top of the order just fine themselves.
Exactly. They're already excelling there. An opener would likely be redundant, maybe even counterproductive, messing with their established routines. Tyler Glasnow probably falls into this category too. While his early results are a bit mixed, he's also still building back from injury, making him less ideal for consistent opener use right now.
Okay. And what about those other developing arms you mentioned? Matt Sauer, Landon Knack, part of that potential 6-man mix.
Yeah, while you might have initially thought about them, the deeper analysis from our sources suggest they either don't have clear inning splits like Wroblewski, or they show more general inconsistency, not just a specific first-inning problem an opener solves. Like Knack's ERA seems to jump around throughout his starts in 25, suggesting overall inconsistency. And Sauer is described as uniformly poor across his outings so far. He needs more traditional full development, not really a specialized opener role. For them, sticking to conventional starter or bullpen paths seems best for their long-term growth.
This really paints a compelling picture of a very tailored strategy. So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway from all this analysis? It really does sound like a potential win-win scenario. For the Dodgers, obviously, but maybe for Ohtani, too.
It absolutely feels that way. This strategy seems to serve multiple Dodger goals all at once. Winning the division by neutralizing those crucial early runs, preparing for October with a really flexible high-leverage weapon, and importantly, fostering that young pitcher development by easing their way into games. It's a sophisticated, pretty comprehensive approach that really leverages their roster depth and their analytical strengths.
And for Ohtani himself, it feels like a whole new paradigm for his unique talent. This isn't about demanding 180 innings like a traditional ace anymore.
Not at all.
It's about how and when he pitches, One great inning, maybe a couple of times a week, maximizing run prevention and preserving that elite offensive production. It's like you said, not a compromise, it's a strategy.
Exactly. This approach really redefines his two-way greatness, doesn't it? It ensures the Dodgers get the absolute maximum value from him while rigorously protecting his long-term health and maximizing his impact in those critical game moments. It leverages his unique talents in what seems like the most efficient way possible for a team aiming for a championship.
Which leaves us with a really provocative thought to chew on, doesn't it? How will this innovative approach to Shohei Ohtani's truly unique talent permanently reshape how we even define a starting pitcher in modern baseball, especially for a playoff-bound team with these kinds of resources? It really might just change everything we thought we knew about pitching roles.